So data types. Here we're going to have a quick look. Here's Jupyter. As you can see, I'm going to quickly run over list, tuple, sets, and dicts. So those are different types of ways of holding kind of like a group of data, should we call it. There's different things that can be held inside. We'll start off with the lists. So we can have apples and oranges and things, but we'll go more into this. Starting off, we're going to use Jupyter. I'll select that cell. As you can see, it just highlighted it slightly. You should be able to see that there. See how it's gone blue around the outside. And we'll change the pull down to Markdown. That's just a type of language, so you can see it nice and clearly, which means that you can pass on these kind of presentations to people so they can kind of see text along with code. So if we have a look at a code one, code cell, here we go. So I've just highlighted it, and we have the variable X, so a variable just a referencing way in the computer of storing, in this case, a list of items. And we have a number 7 in this list, along with a bunch of strings being text. So that list we will print out. So if we just put that print in, and then hopefully we can see this at the bottom of the screen. If I just click run selected cell, you can see it there, apple, oranges, 7 pair. So that's just the most basic way of printing out a list. And the difference there between a list and an array is obviously an array can only hold, say, strings or integers. Let's just print out the length. So if I type in length and then X, the variable, hopefully it will give us the amount. Yeah, so there's 4 items or 4 data pieces, shall we say, stored in that list. I know this probably sounds a little boring, but you really got to know your data types, and you've got to know all of this. It's absolutely fundamental, because otherwise you're just going to be going around in problems the whole time. Let's append the number 11 to the end of that variable X. Okay. So we just appended the number 11. We're using the method append, quite straightforward. Here we go. So here we're going to use the add sign. So the operator add, and we're just going to add these 2 items, the 2 strings, to the end of our little list. Our list obviously being called X still. If I try to put append with these 2 items, you'll see it's thrown an error. Okay, it's just not subscriptable, so it can't basically iterate over it and add it to that list. Okay, that's why we use that append. So it just adds it straight in. Okay, so if we try something else, let's just try appending 2 items instead of just 1. I think this won't work either. No. Okay, so the append is just adding that 1 item to the list. Okay, otherwise we'll have to use the operator to add in the items. So let's just go back a bit. What else can we try doing? Well, we'll just add them. We'll add in both of those to the list, as you can see. Okay, so we just use the operator there, and we'll try just for the last thing to append, I don't know, a slightly different number. Okay, and let's just look at that without using the print, and it's still there. It basically brings up the whole list straight away. So this is incredibly useful, as you can imagine, working with data types. You've really got to know these basic data types and these functions, these basic methods, otherwise you're just going to be stuck from the moment. So worth practicing a few of these. I'll just take that out, and then we'll move on and see what's next along my list, which I've prepared. Just playing around with these different kind of strings and things. As you can see at the bottom, I've kept all of that array, that list exactly the same. So we can work with this variable named X and the list going forward. So there's just different ways of showing you how it can all be presented. Hopefully that's reasonably straightforward. I'll just print that out so it just makes it look a bit neater rather than printing out the list in a vertical kind of format. Okay, if we reference x there as y, we basically have the same list. So if we just print out y, hopefully it's just the indent there. So if we just take that indent now, you've got to remember in Python all of the spaces count. We'll get onto that later. But as you can see, y is now equal to x. So x was our list and now y is. So in the computer, we're just referencing the same thing. Okay. Here, under the append, once again, we're just practicing appending the lemonade to it and then printing out y. So it won't be there, but it will be under y. Yeah, so as you can see, I've appended it to x, and due to the fact x is the same as y, it all comes out exactly the same, which is good. Let's see what else we can have a look at here. So by setting y equal to list x, we're basically setting y at that point in time. So if we x append soda, so basically I've just appended the word, you can see it there at the bottom, just there. Basically, so if I just highlight those other pieces out, you can see there it is, soda and soda. So basically then I print out y, and it isn't referencing the second appended soda. So I hope that makes sense. By basically just setting y equal to x at that point, list x, we are not going to move on with the data frame. Okay, so that's quite useful. Y becomes its own entity as such. Okay, so here we're just setting up a couple of variables, except ints this time. So we print those, and you can quite clearly see that p is equal to 2 and q is also equal to p. So it's just referencing the same thing. Once again, a similar type of scenario there with 3. Okay, it basically the p overwrites it. So I was just skipping through these quite quickly. It's kind of stuff that you just need to practice. So appending 3 there to p, and you can see it's just made up a list of ints. So if we print out x again quickly, there it is. Okay, and this time we're going to reference the second item on the list. It's actually not the second item because the list is 0 is the first item, so it's actually the third item. Okay, so if we print that out, you can see there it is a 7. Okay, hope that is reasonably obvious there. We've got apples, oranges, and the third item is 7. If we do to the -1, that will bring us the last item, soda, in the list. And then we can also select a few items between, in this case, the very first item and the fourth item, 0 and third. And you don't even need the 0. You can just, there they are. You can just put them out, apple, orange, and 7. So there we go, we get the 3 items out. If you do between the first and the third, it drops off the very first item. So 1:3 will just drop off the first item. And here, with the -2 at the beginning, we are just getting the last 2 items. So these are different ways of selecting pieces of information. There's only one way, it's just practice to get used to it all. So I hope I'm not killing everybody there. But there we go. We'll print out a new list of variables. Okay, we're just going to sort it. So in this case, we've sorted it, as you can see, in alphabetical order. The sort, but we can change the sort. We can do it by length, so we can sort it for the shortest item to the longest item. Okay, so if we print that out, hopefully that will bring us out a slightly different order. Yeah, there you go. So you've got pairs is the smallest amount of characters inside of that list. We can reverse it. So we've reversed the order of the original list. Okay. And what else can we do as well as reversing it? So there's the obviously to look at the documentation, there's other items we can do, but in this case I've selected the length and reversed it. Okay, so we're doing the longest to the shortest if you want. Let's see what else we can do with using the sort item. So here what we'll do is, there's other ways to sort it obviously. We have a list there. Actually it's an array, they're all the same. So if I just apply the sorted method to that entire array, it will actually just put it all straight in order for me, in alphabetical order. So you can see it changed the order there. So that's particularly good. Okay, I think we'll leave it there for the moment.